ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So 500th verse we saw yesterday, and these verses, the experience of the disciple is being explained. Three analogies were there in that. First analogy was of the space, Akashavat Lepa Vidura Goham. I am like space which is uncontaminated by anything that happens in it. Consciousness is like that. Thoughts, feelings, actions, they rise, they fall, but consciousness remains unaffected. Why? Because it is the illuminer. The previous shloka said, Aropitam na ashraya dushakam bhavet. The superimposition cannot affect the substratum. Then the next analogy which was given was Adityavad Bhasya Vilakshanoham. Like the sun, I am the illuminer who is different. And Aharyavat Nitya Vinishchaloham. Like the mountain, I am very steady. So not three, four analogies are given actually. Like the mountain, I am ever steady, and like the ocean, Ambodhivat Paravivarjitoham. Like the ocean, I am limitless. There is no boundaries to me. Now, continuing that further. Name dehena sambandho meghe neva vihayasaha atah kuto me tad dharma jagrat swapna sushuptayaha. Name dehena sambandho. He says, I don't have any relationship with the body. Meghe neva vihayasaha. Like the clouds in the sky, like the clouds have no relation with the sky. In that way, I have no relation with the body. Atah kuto me tad dharma. So how can the dharma of the body affect me? Jagrat swapna sushuptayaha. What are the dharmas of the body? The waking, dream and the deep sleep state. So like the clouds and the sky, sometimes the clouds are just light, wind can scatter them away. Sometimes they are heavy, loaded with lot of water. Sometimes they are dark. Whatever may be, their volume, their color, the density of water that they have, it makes no difference to the sky. And at whichever level they may be also, it makes no difference to the sky. If the clouds are there, great. If the clouds are not there also, it doesn't make a difference to the sky. The clouds need the sky doesn't need the clouds. So in the same way here, the consciousness is like that sky. Whatever is the connection of the, whatever is the nature of that body, mind and intellect, it doesn't affect the consciousness. Consciousness can remain without the BMI, but BMI cannot remain without consciousness. And that consciousness is me. So here he clearly says, Name Dehena Sambandho. It is not that body is an illusion. He is not even saying that. He says there is no connection. Today our condition is all opposite. No? The only connection we have is the body. Where is consciousness? No idea. And people go around saying also, it's very abstract. Have you ever seen God? Who is God? What is God? There is nothing called God. But every minute one is experiencing only that. Inside, outside, everywhere. Antarbahishya tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha. Sky is there everywhere. Clouds come, clouds go. It doesn't make a difference to the sky. Same way, consciousness is here as aham, 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 asmi. In the heart, it is there every single moment as aham. That is God. The true I is God. And around as asti, as the things that exist, the existence is consciousness. The forms make no difference. It can be any form that we have seen earlier also. Pot, cup, pitcher, saucer can be any form, but it is mud. Same way, whether it's plants, trees, birds, humans, what difference it makes? The basic is it is existence appearing in this particular form. So, Name Dehena Sambandho. There is no connection between me and the body. Then what to talk about the states that the body goes through? So body here doesn't mean only physical body. It obviously means the subtle body and causal body also, because the physical body is dormant in the dream and deep sleep state. But here the shloka says Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptayaha, all the three states. So subtle body goes through the dream state predominantly, and then causal body is the deep sleep state. Meaning all the three bodies, I have nothing to do with it. That's why you will see some of the Mahatmas, they become so indifferent. Because abiding in self-consciousness, no connection is there to the body. And as long as I feel I am this body, there's apparently no connection to consciousness. Though it is consciousness only which is enlivening this. But as long as the body identification remains, I think I am a jiva who goes through three states. We saw in the earlier last month's session, the Puratraya, Tripurasura, who was killed by Bhagavan Shiva, is a jiva, is a ego, who goes in three states, keeps traveling in three states, waking, dream, deep sleep. That's the jiva who goes through that. So, Name Dehena Sambandho, Meghenaiva Vihayasaha. Anytime our body creates a pain, our mind creates a problem, or even if it doesn't and there is some excitement, elation, all that. As a mumukshu, one will say, Name Dehena Sambandho. No, but what is wrong in enjoying? Okay, enjoy. One who has Tivra Mumukshutvam, like that disciple who came, like this disciple who came to the teacher, beaten up by the world and the samsara and the raga dvesha inside, feeling incompleteness, so many such things he came with. Where is the thought of enjoyment coming there? There is no thought of enjoyment there. That person wants only mukti. And the teacher has very clearly said, you are not this. Now that is the experience of this student. He says, Name dehena sambandha. So they become, many of them, they become indifferent also. It doesn't bother them at all. Just like anything is there, you know, so many things are there in our house also. They just keep lying there. Many times we bring so many things and keep it in the showcase and all. Once a year or so, we wipe it, put it back, clean it again, put it back. That's all. It's just there. No, Swamiji, it adds beauty to our house. Okay, very good. Does it make you feel that I am greater and beautiful because of that? No. If it does, then that is Mahamoha, delusion only. Some people may feel that I have this precious thing, nobody else has, and all that. The delusion only. Your value doesn't come from anything around. Same way, this body, mind, intellect is just like one more thing. That's all. Consciousness is completely disconnected. Disconnected in what sense? That it is the illuminer. What is it? What it is illumining? How does it make a difference? One aspect. Second aspect, from a deeper level, when we see our true nature, when we abide in the self, our false notion that I am this body, mind, intellect, that goes. So if that false notion of I am body, mind, intellect goes, name dehena sambandha. There is no connection at all. Now, how will the BMI survive? It has the vasanas, it will make the BMI survive. So don't worry about that. Consciousness is not making that body, mind, intellect go through its prarabdha. Consciousness is enlivening it. Vasana is making it go through whatever it is going through. Like the electricity can enliven the bulb or the machine. What keeps that machine going is whatever the intricate parts and however it has been designed, and that will keep that machine going and some output will come. Same way, there is a mechanism which is going on in this BMI. It will continue. Jivan Mukta is not bothered about what will happen to this BMI. If I say no, Name Dehena Sambandha, then what will happen? This is not at that stage. This is the experience of the disciple. He is explaining that when I have no connection to body, mind, intellect, then waking, dream, deep sleep itself don't matter. I must have shared this earlier also. You know, Janak Maharaj, he dreamt one night, he was sleeping, and then he dreamt that he has become so poor, there is no food to eat, he has literally become a beggar. And he's begging people, please give me some food. And excruciating hunger, people are not helping. And suddenly he woke up. So now he started wondering. He said, am I the dreamer who is now appearing as the king? Or am I the king who was dreaming that I am beggar? Who am I? You see, that question doesn't come to us many times. We also go through dream and we also wake up sometimes with happiness also, or with shock also, or fear, or anything. We may get up and then we don't think which is real. We think this is real, that was illusion. That is our firm conviction. Janak Maharaj is thinking now, which one is real now? Because in the dream that was so real that the waker was not, apparent. What was apparent was I am that dreamer. Now I am waking up. Now this waking entity is appearing so real that dreamer is not apparent. So who is real now? So he went to his guru. Who is the guru? Ashtavakra Muni is the guru. And he asked Ashtavakra Muni that who am I? Am I the waker dreaming now that I am the king, or am I the king who was dreaming that I was a beggar? You know what Ashtavakra Muni said? You are neither. You are that consciousness that illumines all the three. The waker also, the king, the beggar also, and absence of both in deep sleep, that also. You are beyond all. That is your true nature. So Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, Dharma, they are the dharma of the body, mind, intellect. Name dehena sambandho. No connection at all. And that's why body is there, great. Body is not there, doesn't matter. Jivan Mukta Sthiti is that. People like Tapan Maharaj and many such great Mahatmas, no attachment to the body at all. Imagine, he went to Kailash twice, barefoot, one piece of cloth on him. There are no gloves, there is no muffler, there is no coat, there is no shoes, socks, nothing. Terrible cold when one goes up there. And I shared this before also. He reached there and he collapsed actually. After some time, early morning, he got up and he said, "Oh, I woke up. That means Ishvara has something to accomplish through this body. That's why it is still alive. Otherwise, this body would have dropped long back." Such Virakta Purushas. Not that they want to torture the body, but it doesn't matter to them. If the body is there, great. If it is not there, great. They have gone to a state which is beyond mind. That is called Unmani Avastha or Amani Bhava. Beyond mind. So beyond mind, then what happens? If one has gone beyond mind, then there is no question of any other identification to the body, etc. Reveling in that state. So Name Dehena Sambandha. When we come to Vedanta, all these things are so powerful that the most fundamental thought process Vedanta shakes up. Name Dehena Sambandha only. There is no connection to the body. And whole life goes, in our case, with body identification, pampering of the body, cajoling the body, making the body look appear. For us, that na is out. For us, the shloka will be, our body itself is the sambandha. Instead of na me dehena sambandha, dehena eva mama sambandha. So my connection is with the body only. I don't know anything else. And I am the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, the Jiva, Vishva, Tejas, Pragni. I am that. Disciple here has woken up from that last line. So there is no, Gurudeva has written in his commentary, this last line, Natad Jagrat Swapna Sushuptayaha Ato Kutome Tad Dharmaha Jagrat Swapna Sushuptayaha. So in his commentary he has said, in short, in Vedantic idiom, the last line indicates that in me there is neither non-apprehension of the reality, that is deep sleep, nor the misapprehension, dream and the waking. Both have ended. For some time, it may be just that the misapprehension has ended and non-apprehension is there. Then non-apprehension also goes. Ignorance is destroyed. This is the experience of the Jivan Mukta. Upadhirayati sa eva gacchati sa eva karmani karoti bhunte sa eva jiryan mriyate sadaham kuladrivan nischala eva samsthitaha. Upadhi ayati eva sa gacchati. The equipment is born and it dies. It comes and goes. Saeva karmani karoti bhumte. And that upadhi only does the karmas and enjoys. Saheva jiryan mriyate sadaham. And that only is, jiryan, it decays. Mriyate, it dies. Then sada aham, then who am I? Kuladrivat nischala eva. I am like that Meru mountain, which is supposed to be the center of the universe. Meru mountain, center of the universe, which is not shaken by anything. I am like that. Body comes, body goes, it grows, it dies. Nothing affects me. Kuladrivat nischala eva samsthitaha. And I remain steadfast like the Meru mountain. So, this is the experience of the Jivan Mukta. The dharma belongs to body. So, not only waking, dream, deep sleep, even birth, decay, and death, and rebirth. Even this thing, upadhi only goes through. And the karma phala, the karta is the bhokta, and because there is karta bhav, there is punarjanma, because that jiva only has to experience the result. So when he says karmani karoti bhunkte, the doer is also this jiva, the enjoyer also is this jiva, the experiencer is this jiva. So this jiva will go from one life to another. What about the Atma? Atma is enlivening countless number of jivas. And at the same time, there are none of the jivas in it. From the Atma standpoint, there is no jivas. From jiva standpoint, Atma is the enlivener of all these jivas. So the Jivan Mukta says, I am that pure consciousness which is in the hearts of all. So it is not one, it is not that this Jivan Mukta has realized that there is one consciousness inside here. Very clearly he says, no, name dehena sambandha. I have no connection with the body. From Atma standpoint, there is no connection to the body. So naturally there is no connection to the Jiva Bhav, to the Karta, to the Bhokta, to Punarjanma, Mrityu, none of that. No connection. But from the body standpoint, when we see, then we say, okay, Atma is the enlivener. And it is the enlivener in which body? In so many bodies. That is the standpoint of the bodies, because they are by itself Jadavastu. They cannot illumine, they cannot function on their own. Like electricity will illumine thousands of bulbs. Electricity by itself doesn't need any bulb. This enlivening is from bulb standpoint. Light is coming because the bulb is enlivened by electricity. Same way, consciousness is my true self, which is only pure consciousness. In that there is none of this. But if somebody says, but then who is the karta, who is the bhokta? Okay, that is the ego doing it. So upadhi ayati eva gacchati. Upadhi is created and it goes. What is the meaning of upadhi? To revise again. All this has come earlier also. Upadhi means, in Hindi, upadhi means trouble. The word upadhi means trouble. But Sanskrit upadhi means upasamipe yo sthitva swakiyam rupam anyan adadhati sa upadhi. Meaning, when it is close to something, its own qualities, it will superimpose on something else. That is called upadhi. What is the example given? There is a colorless crystal. Now, if this blue cloth is brought next to it, the blue cloth as though lends its blueness to the crystal. So, upasamipe yo sthitva. When it comes close to this, swakiyam rupam anyan adadhati. It as though superimposes its qualities on the thing next to it. That is called upadhi. So the body, mind, intellect, this is the upadhi. When it is enlivened by consciousness, as though there is a mutual superimposition that is happening. This body, mind, intellect, which is inert, now appears sentient. And this consciousness, which is infinite, now that becomes finite, appears as finite. So this mixing has happened. And that's why Vivek has to be done, that what is infinite and what is finite. Nitya, Anitya, Vastu Vivek has to be done. So the disciple has done this Vivek. Now the result of that Vivek is this Jnanam, this experience, Anubhav, Aparoksha Anubhav, this is. He says, Upadhi ayati sa eva gacchati. You know, you can bring the piece of cloth next to the crystal, take it back, again bring, again take it back. Nothing happens to crystal actually. Now, we may get excited saying, oh, crystal is looking blue. Oh, now it is looking red. Crystal is colorless even when you bring that cloth nearby. Crystal doesn't have any problem. Crystal is not affected by the color at all. It's only a reflection in the crystal. You bring it next to it, you take it back, makes no difference to the crystal. Same way, upadhi comes, upadhi goes. So, upadhi rayati sa eva gacchati. And that upadhi only is creating all this notion of jiva bhav. Sa eva karmani karoti bhumte. Atma is the enlivener, Atma doesn't do anything. These people find it most difficult to accept. Because, you know, we are so stuck with doing karma. So if we say Atma doesn't do anything, so they say, okay, then what happens? No, it does, nothing happens. Acha. So after realization, what will I do? No, nothing, you just be. What does that mean, just be? Means I can't do anything. No, you can do, but you are not the doer. Very confusing it is to some people. When we say that birth and death happens, Jiva goes through all this, Atma doesn't, they can't understand that only. They will still say, Iski Atma chali gayi. Because not only it is a colloquial usage, they will say, Iski Atma deh tyag karke chali gayi. Iski Atma parlok sidhar gayi. ये दुष्टात्मा है, ये दुरात्मा है. You know, they will say like that. This is a bad soul. This is a good soul. This soul has done very good things, because it has got deep, not only as colloquial usage, but even as a concept. The concept that it is not the karta, it is the illuminer, which also is because from our standpoint, otherwise it is not illumining anything. Where is the illumination in duality? It is in duality. Atma is non-dual. People don't understand that only. So if we say that, you know, body dies, then this Jivatma, which is infinite consciousness and enlivening this one BMI, that entity is called Jivatma. That Jivatma goes from one body to another. Pure Atma doesn't go anywhere, and that Atma is same in all. No, people don't understand only. They will still come back to that. Atma is the Karta. And where all they apply it? Other day somebody asking me a question that Atma is the same in everybody. Then what is wrong if somebody commits suicide? Because it is Atma inside him making him think like that, and then he committed suicide. So why does our scripture say that suicide is bad? What a confusion is there in that question. That is because Vedant clarity is not there. There is nothing wrong about a question. It's only that the confusion is there because clarity is not there. Consciousness is not telling the mind to do anything. Thoughts can come, whatever thoughts comes, consciousness is enlivener of that. Consciousness is not doing anything, Baba. But people cannot accept it. They will want to attribute doership to consciousness. So they will say consciousness only made them do, no? Then what is wrong in that? Are consciousness did not make them do anything. It is the samskar in the mind, positive and negative, and this capability in the mind to handle life. Resilience is there. That capability is not there. One says, I want to die. That is mind's quality, tad dharma. The dharma of the deha, sukshma sharir. It's not the quality of the consciousness. And consciousness is not telling him, now you go and die. It is only enlivening. So this is not understood at all. Even if we give example that look, the car will run because of petrol, but where the car will go is decided by the driver, not the petrol. Such a clear example that is. Still, one will not understand that. Why? Because one says that is car example. In my example, consciousness is making me do something. Akartritva of Bhagwan and akartritva of Atma is the same. Because that Atma is Bhagwan. If God is only doing everything, then why am I being blamed for it? God is enlivening everything. You are the Karta as a Jiva. And you are only the Bhokta. Suppose we tell that person, okay, God is doing everything, na? Let God be the Bhokta. Why do you want to enjoy? No. That Bhokta bhav one doesn't want to give up. Karta bhav one wants to give up because one wants to escape from negative karma phala. Good karma phala one wants to experience. That is meaning selectively I want to go, I want to accept karta bhav in a selective way. If one says God is the karta, no problem. Then God only is the bhokta. So then who are you? Zero. Live like that. Perfect. That I can't do. Nor can I accept God is not the karta. So akarta bhava Bhagwan is to make us realize that that is my true self. Because I am one with that. This body, mind, intellect, they are not my dharma. Name dehena sambandha. But that knowledge is not there, then one gets identified. And then one says, I am the karta. Now, because I feel I am the karta and I am the bhokta, it is difficult for me to experience that consciousness is akarta, abhokta is only enlivener. It doesn't do anything. Because my kartritva bhav makes me feel that I have to do something all the time. Now, if you say consciousness doesn't do anything, so one starts wondering, then why should I realize it? Because everything else when I do and I get the result, to experience that result, again I have to do something. Kurute karma bhogaya. Karma is done to enjoy results. And to enjoy results, karma kartum cha bhunjate. To enjoy results also I have to do some action. Now if there is a state where none of this applies, then one wonders why should I realize that state? Because there is no action there, there is no enjoyment there. Now saeva karmani karoti bhunte. The jiva goes through karmas and jiva experiences the results. That is the supreme state which does not have any identification with the equipment. So there is no karta, there is no bhokta. Then what will happen there? That question itself is wrong. That question itself shows that I am waiting for something to happen in time as a result of some action. When I transcend the ego, then this I will experience. These are limitations of language, and in our understanding it has to be clear. There is no when and there is no experience to be experienced there, which is separate. Right now also Chaitanya Swarup Atma is enlivening our thoughts, our body, our speech, everything. One will wake up to realize I am that. That's all. And there is no example which comes close to explaining this. You can say the movie screen remains unaffected. movie gets over, screen is as it is. Next show starts, again screen appears to, you know, entertain people through whatever the movie is. But screen remains aloof. There's nothing. It was white before the movie, during the movie, after the movie also. It is same. No difference. Same consciousness, same way it is with consciousness. There is no difference. Don't suddenly feel that some extraordinary experience is going to happen when I realize consciousness. That is an obstacle in the realization, because now I built an expectation. Now I built a concept around it. Now I think that some extraordinary thing will happen, some light will come, some God will come, some anubhuti will happen. Are nothing. One just wakes up to realize that this was false identification. So, upadhi ayati saeva gacchati, saeva karmani karoti sa bhunte. That's why it is very important to reflect upon what is moksha. Moksha is not some extraordinary state that I have to attain, which I have not attained right now. That's the normal way of thinking, that right now I am not happy, I will become happy. Right now I am not wealthy, I will become wealthy. No, right now I am not famous, now I will become famous. Finite things we can explain all that. Infinite you cannot explain that way. Right now I am ignorant, now then I will become illumined. If you were ignorant all the time, you cannot become illumined. This ignorance is only an appearance. You are illumined right now also. The illumined being. You are consciousness right now. And even after realization, you will be that only. What is the realization? That this was false. This was not real at all. That's the realization. The waker was a waker all the time, even when the dream was going on. It's not that suddenly something new happened. That person woke up, a dream ended, then person understood, I was a waker all the time. That is all will happen. If at all we have to say it will happen, it doesn't happen, it is, that's it. We have built all these mystical things all around it, and then we have built one expectation. That is what creates all the obstacles also on the path of realization. Because we have associated all this, then I will get siddhis, then I can read minds of people. Because many people come for that. They ask also, Swamiji, if we realize, then what is the benefit? It's like asking, if I become member of this club, what is the benefit? So I become member of Realized Masters Club, what is the benefit? Arey Baba, think carefully. This is not like that club membership. You have to renew every year, pay some money also, and get some extra benefit. You can go and stay in this resort for some 5 days and, get some New Year party ka invitation and all that stuff. It's nothing like that. Most simple is realization. Is just to wake up. Who am I? I am Brahman. That's all. Acha, is that's all? Yeah, that's all we are promising. Beyond that, there is nothing. Arey, you are telling that at 502nd verse. You should have told before only. I would not have studied Vivek Chudamani. I thought some extraordinary thing will happen. That is a delusion. If I said this in the beginning, at least even the understanding will not be clear. See, one is suffering, there is bondage, there is Vivek, Vairagya, there is a path to come out of this delusion. And when one comes out of the delusion, one realizes it is all laughable, illusory joke that was going on. That was also not real. So, upadhi ayati saeva gacchati, saeva karmani karoti bhunte. And in different ways, this has come before. I'm not saying anything new right now. Aheyam anupadeyam, it came or not. It is not something that can be rejected, not something that can be obtained. That time also we had explained this. So this keeps coming throughout. It has come, many times it has come. It's just that maybe, the way of explanation changes each time. Otherwise, it is the same thing. So, Saeva Jiryan Mriyate Sada. that Jiva only goes through this birth and death and decay. And who am I? Like the Meru mountain, I am unmovable, unshakable, pure consciousness. So Meru mountain is supposed to be the center of the universe. And Gurudev has written in his footnote, it's a mythological concept repeatedly endorsed in the Vedas that the Meru mountain is the center of the universe around which all the other solar systems revolve rhythmically. Thus, Meru is the motionless center around which all movements take place, which means that it is a symbol of consciousness around which all the BMI get enlivened. This whole creation is functioning because of the presence of that consciousness. But that consciousness is not affected by anything. It is immovable, unshakable, independent. Everything else depends on it. It doesn't depend on anything else. And from its own standpoint, there is no everything else also. Now, continuing. Name pravrittir, sorry, the tune is different. Name pravrittir nachame nivrittihi sadaika rupasya ramshakasya ekatmako yo nibido nirantaro vyomeva purnasya katham nu cheshtate. See that earlier shloka, what we just discussed, is again there in this next shloka. Name pravrittir nachame nivritti. There is no engaging, there is no renouncing from work. Sada eka rupasya, because I am of the same homogeneous nature at all times. Niramshakasya, amsha means part, niramshaka means no parts, means there are no divisions in me, I am not an assemblage of parts. Ekatmako yo, which is one, nibido nirantaraha, which is unbroken and infinite. Like what? Vyomeva, like the sky. Vyomeva purnaha, I am fulfilled. Sa katham nu cheshtate. Then what is there to strive? I am already paripurna. We are striving to get purnata. Trying to fill the incompleteness within by incomplete things outside. How illogical is that? How will incompleteness go by filling life with incomplete things? These such fundamental things, we have not even taught any of this. Life after life, we go round and round and round. Not even knowing some of these fundamental things, which in the Gurukul system, which was very clear to the students and they were taught also. And Mahavakyas were taught to them. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, all that was taught. And that is taught meaning that background has to be given. Otherwise, what is Tattvamasi? It is just a statement. But it is the highest knowledge. So the student comes to understand. As one grows up, one understands also. And one understood that now that is the purpose of life, to realize that. And this anyway, the whole thing is a mithya. Imagine the life of that person who has understood this knowledge, even intellectually, let us say that person has understood when studying in the Gurukul. 25 years one stays there, studies. 25 years one doesn't stay there. At 6 or 8 one goes. By 20, 21 one comes out. Maximum, let us say till 25. Even if one comes out at 25. What will be the life of that person? When that person has got the clarity of what is dharma, artha, kama, moksha, person has got clarity about this Vedantic aspect that I am not the body, mind, intellect, I am pure consciousness. And all my karma, etc. is to prepare me to realize this. This is the goal of life. Pleasure is not the goal of life. Money is not the goal of life. Recognition is not the goal of life. Now that person who has that clarity, when that person faces life, with what strength will that person face life? You think about it. So many problems that we have today are unnecessary problems because of ignorance they are expressing. Because they don't know higher purpose at all. And what is flash around is so illogical and doesn't make any sense. But that's all one is feeding on. All kinds of perverted stuff. And the mind gets What the mind is exposed to, it will take that form. That's the swabhava of the mind. So if I'm exposed to all kinds of comparisons and deceit and show and glamour, and I derive my validation from there, then that's what becomes my goal. So the person who has had that clarity, that person will at least go through life with certain amount of sanity. Otherwise, it's insane what is happening around. So here he says this, Name pravritti, nachame nivritti. Now pravritti and nivritti, they akin are the dharmas of the jiva. And both are necessary. It's not that one is lower, the other is higher. Both are very important. That's why first 50 years of life is pravritti, next 50 years is nivritti. Because 50 years you see the world. What is there in this world? See, 50 years are given for it. After that, what is so new that you have not experienced in the world? It's the same thing in different ways. That's all. And some permutation, combination will keep changing. Beyond that, there's nothing more. If that permutation combination makes you so tickled and attached to it, okay, continue. But otherwise, it's finite stuff. How much one will keep enjoying that? Life after life. It's not that one is not enjoyed. Already one has enjoyed. Earlier it was said, birth after birth, the jiva keeps taking. So pravritti is to prepare for nivritti, and nivritti is to realize Brahman. Each one is a means to the next one. The state of realization is beyond nivritti also. Now this scheme of life should become clear to me. My pravritti, is it preparing me for nivritti or not? Our pravritti prepares us for more pravritti. Our action makes us more and more involved in action. See, at some point, one has to have that ambition, goal, and expansion and all that. There is no problem. That's a part of pravritti. But it should be in such a way that one is not trapped by it completely. One to get trapped fully. Big goals, big targets, expansion, empire, huge legacy, this, that. Wonderful. Till 50, till 60, chalo. After that, start withdrawing. If one knows already that by 50, 60, I need to learn to withdraw because there is a higher purpose for me, and this is only a preparation for that higher purpose. Karma Yoga is a preparation. Upasana is a preparation. Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, Samadhi. This is the path I have to follow. In Nivritti Marg, I have to do that now. Go to the Guru, Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, and get into Samadhi and realize, because that's the main purpose. This is all time pass. In what sense? As a preparation. If this has become the main thing and the next purpose is forgotten, that is complete delusion. Pravritti cannot be by itself for, it will not give fulfillment. So many stories have explained it. Dashrath Maharaj, to whom Bhagwan Ram only was born as his son, still he is incomplete. Chakravarti Samrat, but still feels incomplete. He died out of attachment to his son. Helpless. And that he has to done tapasya earlier. If that is his condition, when we have not done tapasya, what is our condition? So our pravritti is not meant for pravritti at all. Action is meant to become actionless. And that's why one should know when to withdraw, what is the limit, because the limit has to be set by us. Samsara will never set a limit. And there will never be a limit in samsara. Is there a limit in ocean? There is no limit in the ocean. Samsara is compared to ocean. Now I have two choices. I can drown in the ocean of samsara, or I can revel in the ocean of bliss, which is consciousness. Now what do I want? There are two oceans. No, Swami, I will drown in samsara. Okay. But I have to set the boundary na, in samsara. This boundary is not to be set by the world. I have to set that this much is enough now, so that now I turn. And how to get that enough is not by somehow hook and crook and do all corrupt things and then adharmic ways and then get into, some whatever is as competition and struggle and strife and do all kinds of compromises and get the mind so worked up and then say that, okay, now I am done. That now I am done cannot come in that mind because greed has filled that mind. That mind will say, now I am done when it has sattva guna. When that Vivek Shakti has risen, saying that this is all temporary and why, what am I running behind? If the entity here only is a myth, what all that entity is running behind, how can it provide any real happiness? That's why the study of Vedanta is right from the beginning of life. Preparation is done, then Vedanta is taught also, then Grahastha life also one does Swadhyaya and Pravachan. It is not that in Grahastha life I have to just run behind work and money and fame and all that, and then I will, after some time, when I retire, then I will take spirituality. That's what majority does. Samskar of spirituality is not there in Pravritti Marg at all in their life. So Nivritti Marg doesn't come properly because one is scared now what to do after retirement. I become jobless because one is not understood. 25 years I must study also, Vedanta is there at that stage. Grahastha life also Vedanta is there because that is what keeps me clearly, on the path of evolution. So I know that activity is meant for purification. This came in very beginning in Vivek Chudamani. Chittasya shuddhaye karma. The objective of karma is to purify the mind. Natu vastu upalabdhaye. It cannot give us realization. Because there is Rajoguna in us, we have to act. So let us act, but do it out of dedication to the Lord. Why should I dedicate to Bhagavan? So my mind becomes purified and really speaking, He is the Karta, I am not the Karta. I am the Akarta. To get established in Akarta Bhav, either say I am a Sakshi, which is not the Karta, or say that I am an instrument, Bhagavan is the Karta. These are the two methods. Now, if I know this, then I do all my action with clarity that at a certain point in time, I have to drop this. And to drop, I must slow down. So this Nivritti, after 50, 60, also 20 years, 25 years are given for Nivritti so that one slows down and drops it completely. What should I drop? All the materialistic ways of thinking and living, I have to drop. Bhoga vritti, I have to drop. Karma asakti, I have to drop. But then what will I do? Contemplate, study, meditate. If required, do little more selfless service, which is not goal-oriented, ambition-oriented. In pravritti, there is goal, there is ambition, there is achievement, there is success, there is fame, there is glory, all that. One has seen it all. And when I drawn a line, this much is enough. At this point, I am withdrawing. And when that point comes, learn to withdraw. If one has studied properly, one will do that. If one has not studied, one has not reflected, when that point comes to withdraw, that line gets pushed ahead. No, that much more I want. That is what happened. That's how samsara cycle goes on and on and on. So pravritti is meant for nivritti marg. Nivritti marg is meant for nididhyasan and samadhi and realize Brahman. Now this is the journey of a jiva who thinks I am the BMI. To get out of the body, mind, intellect identification, this sequence has to be followed. This student realized the truth. So what the student is saying, Name pravritti, nachame nivritti. There is no pravritti nivritti to me because that belongs to the jiva. Why? Sadaika rupasya niranshakasya. I am of the same nature at all times, pure consciousness, bliss. There are no parts in me. BMI have parts. I don't have any parts. Ekatmako yo nibido nirantaro. I am one Atma, which is infinite and unbroken. then Vyomeva Purnaha. Like the sky, I am ever fulfilled. I am infinite, I am all pervasive. There is nothing that I need. Purnaha. Katham nu cheshtate. Then what action has to be done? There's nothing, no action needs to be done. I'm fulfilled already, because it is strange, you know. Through action, I want fulfillment, but action cannot lead to fulfillment. Knowledge alone can lead to fulfillment, but action doesn't allow me to seek knowledge, because action makes me restless when it is done with a selfish motive. When it is done with selflessness, action becomes preparatory. So here he says, what is there to do? Cheshta. No cheshta means neither pravritti marg cheshta nor nivritti marg cheshta. No need to do Shravan Mana Nididhyasana now. Why? Because I have arrived. I am Ekatma. My nature is pure one bliss consciousness. That person has arrived. After you reach the destination, does anybody hold on to the seat of the aeroplane or a car or a train? You have reached the destination. You go out. You board. What you call it? You alight. It's over. No more use of the chair or the cabin in which one was sitting. Nothing. One just out. One has done from pravritti to nivritti and realization. Now what karma? That's why some people, you will find them, they look dull, inactive, because what cheshta one will do? This is not laziness. This is highest level of non-doership because of realization of the self. So if you look at Ramana Maharshi, actually, one will say, what is he doing? He's just sitting on the cot whole day. That is not simply sitting, Baba. That is abiding in Brahman. You look at Tapan Maharaj, he will sit and watch the Ganga. You and I sit there and watch the Ganga. Our attention will not be on the Ganga even for 1 full minute. Try anything, watch the sunrise, watch the birds. Our attention will never be on it for 1 minute also. 5-7 seconds maximum. Then it will go to something else. We will get trapped in some memory, some concept, something. To be ever attentive, I am pure Brahman. And to watch everything as appearance of Brahman only. So these masters, they look inactive, they look as though they are doing nothing, but they are in the highest state of abidance of the self. In their very presence, people feel peace, happiness, their doubts get cleared. Many things happen. Just their presence. They don't have to do anything. So that's what is this state. So for today, I will stop here. Anything to ask, share, you are welcome.
Namaste Swamiji. This is with reference to verse 501. It says, Name dehena sambandho. Now, deha is of 3 types, sthula, sukshma and karana. Now, when I'm identified with the sthula sharira, I am subject to birth, death, etc. Sukshma sharira, I am subject to worry. Karana sharira, how can I, karana is the potential state. So how can I even associate myself with the potential state? Do I even know my presence?
So the association happens through manifestation. No? When the Karan Sharira is the vasanas and the ignorance is the root cause of all sorrow and suffering, and because of that there is Dehatma Bhav. I feel I am the body because I don't know who am I. So association is not with Karan Sharira in the way in which we feel association of the Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira. The expression of the avidya is this body, mind, intellect. Is the way in which I am functioning is my vasanas. The quality of my desires, my thoughts, my actions are because of the quality of my vasana. So they are unmanifest. Vasana by itself is unmanifest, which is what we call as Sukshma Karan Sharir, which will manifest in Sukshma Sharir as desire. as thoughts, which will manifest as action. So the association will be in that way. That's the difference.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hariam Swamiji.
Yes. Okay.
When we say that conscious is only a witness, it's a sakshi, how do we attribute that when we say, I am guilty, my conscience is pricking me? So that, is it our, because of our karta bhava?
See, word consciousness is different from conscience. Please remember that consciousness is Chaitanya Swarup Atma,
Yes.
is infinite. When we say conscience, that consciousness which has enlivened our buddhi, in the buddhi now there is a subtle faculty in us which makes me aware what is right, what is wrong.
Correct.
And when I do something wrong, this buddhi of mine tells me, Arey, you did something wrong. You knew this is not correct, but you still went and did it. That is called conscience prick. It is the reflection of the Atma in the buddhi, and the Shuddha buddhi makes that buddhi tell us this. That is called conscience prick.
That is the reflection of that Atma that is telling.
It is the Jiva Bhav only, with the Jiva only, but purified mind it is. Purified mind and intellect. That part which it is telling me that this is correct or wrong.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sakshi is aware of this also. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dipti ji.
And Swamiji, you said after 50, there should be nivrutti, there should be detachment in all our actions. But when we are doing any seva or we are working for our own family, then what is the bhav that we should have?
Same as Karma Yoga, na? The bhav is dedication to Bhagwan. But one can start withdrawing because the family, if they have, the children have grown up, they are capable, independent of taking their decisions. The earlier kind of involvement which one had, which was much more intense, that need not be there. One is available, one is, being loving, caring, doing things which need to be done. But many things, it is our thinking that I have to do this. They don't expect it, nor they feel that if you do this, if you don't do this, there is any problem. So when we start analyzing and thinking very clearly, it is our attachment which may be making us feel something, do something. So from those one can learn to withdraw slowly, make them more, let them be more independent, so that my time goes more in spiritual aspects. And whatever seva part I am doing, I do it as complete dedication to Bhagwan, nothing for myself. So the Karma Yoga attitude remains the same. Maybe earlier there was some amount of personal need and recognition required from it. So one was doing it with that intention also, apart from selflessness. But now, fully, only dedicate to Bhagwan, nothing I want out of it. So that has to be the bhav in Nivritti Marg.
Okay, thank you, Hariom Swamiji.
Hariom. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.